So the story from the Book of Mosiah, huh? Looks like we're diving into how wars almost happened but didn't.
Yeah, you picked a good one. You've got conflict, assumptions, and it could have been a full-blown war.
Absolutely. And it all begins with a group of Lamanite daughters who disappear. The Lamanites instantly blame Limhi's people.
They didn't even have any proof.
It's right there in Mosiah 20.6. And it came to pass that when the Lamanites found that their daughters had been missing, they were angry with the people of Limhi, for they thought it was the people of Limhi. They were ready to attack.
Things can get out of control so quickly. When emotions take over, you can really feel the tension. Like in verse 7, therefore they sent their armies forth. Yea, even the king himself went before his people, and they went up to the land of Nephi to destroy the people of Limhi. We need to think before jumping to conclusions, especially when things are serious.
Yeah, and Limhi's people weren't going to just stand there and take it. Mosiah 20.10 says they were fighting like lions for their prey.
Outnumbered, but they fought hard.
They even managed to injure and capture the Lamanite king, right in the middle of the battle.
Verse 12 really captures the scene. And it came to pass that they found the king of the Lamanites among the number of their dead. Yet he was not dead, having been wounded and left upon the ground, so speedy was the flight of his people. Such intensity. Everything was at stake for both nations.
You'd think things would just escalate from there.
Right?
Limhi's got the Lamanite king right where he wants him. He could take revenge. But instead, he does something totally unexpected.
He chooses mercy.
Exactly.
He could have been fueled by anger, but Limhi's response is incredible. Mosiah 20.114. He says to the king, what cause have ye to come up to war against my people? Behold, my people have not broken the oath that I made unto you. Therefore, why should ye break the oath which ye made unto my people? He's trying to get to the bottom of it, not just fight back.
There's a lot about Limhi. He's not about vengeance or power. Makes you wonder what would happen if he'd reacted differently.
Definitely a turning point. And that's where Gideon comes in.
Gideon was Limhi's captain, right?
Yep.
I've always liked Gideon. He seems like someone you'd want on your side.
Absolutely. He was known for his wisdom and being able to see the big picture. He knows there's more to this story than meets the eye.
Oh, interesting.
He remembers those exiled priests of Noah, the ones hiding in the wilderness. And suddenly it clicks.
He's putting the pieces together, realizes that Limhi's people are being blamed for something they didn't do.
Exactly. And he knows if he doesn't say something, it's going to get much, much worse.
So what does he do? Go straight to the Lamanite king.
He goes to Limhi first, urges him to think carefully before doing anything rash. I pray thee forbear, and do not search this people, and lay not this thing to their charge, he says in Mosiah 20.1.
He's trying to get Limhi to see things from a new perspective.
He goes on in verse 18, for do ye not remember the priests of thy father, whom this people sought to destroy? And are they not in the wilderness? And are not they the ones who have stolen the daughters of the Lamanites? Gideon's connecting the dots, the missing daughters, those priests. He's urging Limhi to do the same.
It's got to be hard to challenge your leader, especially when things are so tense.
But Gideon knows that staying silent would be wrong. Could have devastating consequences.
So what happens next? Does Limhi listen?
He does. It really shows Limhi's character, He's willing to admit he was wrong. He could have easily dismissed Gideon, but he trusts him.
So he goes to the Lamanite king and tells him the truth.
He does. Takes a leap of faith. Explains that those priests were responsible for taking the Lamanite daughters.
Wow. That must have been a tense moment to tell a king who's about to go to war that he's wrong.
It took so much courage and humility, and guess what? It actually works.
Really?
The king listens to Limhi, realizes he was misdirecting his anger. He sees Limhi's people were innocent, and he's filled with remorse.
So the war is avoided, just like that.
Just like that. Mosiah 20.24, the king says, let us go forth to meet my people without arms, and I swear unto you with an oath that my people shall not slay thy people. He's so moved, he promises peace, and then he does even more.
What do you mean?
Verse 25, it says, and it came to pass that they went forth to meet the people of the Lamanites, with their king at their head. And their king caused that his people should lay down their weapons. And after they had done so, he caused that his people should be pacified towards the people of Limhi. He doesn't just call off the attack. He tells his people to lay down their weapons. It's powerful. Such a willingness to make things right.
It's incredible. A war stopped just by telling the truth.
Yeah.
It shows how important it is to communicate, to understand each other.
Absolutely. The power of honesty, changing hearts and minds, even when things are heated.
It makes me think about how often we jump to conclusions. We see something, hear a story, and boom, we've made up our minds.
Yeah, you're right. We try to make sense of the world, right? Sometimes that means we fill in the blanks ourselves. But this story, Limhi and the King, it reminds us that can be dangerous.
It can lead to conflict, even violence.
Exactly.
What's the big takeaway from all of this?
Seek truth. Avoid those assumptions. Before we get caught up in our feelings, take a step back. Ask ourselves, am I seeing the whole picture? Am I being objective?
Mosiah 20.1722 is a good example. Gideon doesn't just tell Limhi the facts. He appeals to his sense of reason, his conscience. He knows peace is important to Limhi.
Right.
He's not afraid of the tough conversations. And because of that, lives are saved. War is avoided.
Sometimes the hardest conversations are the most important ones. If something seems wrong, if we sense a misunderstanding, we got to speak up. Try to understand each other.
And finally, this story reminds us about forgiveness. Even when we're hurt, even when we're angry, we can always choose peace. Limhi could have taken revenge, but he chose mercy. He believed things could be better. And that opened the door to peace.
It really shows what forgiveness can do. Even in the darkest times, there's hope, there's reconciliation. Makes you think, doesn't it? How often we react based on assumptions.
All the time, right?
In our relationships or communities, even globally, it's easy to get caught up in the moment. Let emotions cloud our judgment. But Mosiah 20, it gives us another way. It reminds us that there's a path of peace, of understanding.
It's not always easy, though.
No.
It takes courage to choose forgiveness instead of revenge, to be the bigger person.
It's definitely easier to just be angry, to hold a grudge. But like we see in Mosiah 20, choosing peace, it's worth it. Limhi showing mercy to that king. Not only did it stop a war, it created a lasting peace.
Powerful. It shows that even small acts of kindness, they can have a huge impact.
Yeah. And think about Gideon. He could have stayed quiet, right?
Right.
He could have let Limhi walk into that war. But he spoke up, challenged his leader, stood up for peace, even though it was risky.
That's righteous courage. Doing what's right, even when it's hard.
Exactly. True strength isn't about power or force. It's about integrity, compassion, a commitment to what's right.
In the end, that's what made the difference. Gideon's courage, Limhi's mercy, the king's humility. All of it came together to create peace. What could have been a tragedy turned into a story of hope.
A story that's still powerful today, reminding us that even when there's conflict, there's always a way to find peace.
We hope this discussion was meaningful for you. This story, Limhi, the Lamanite king Gideon, it's full of lessons for us today about leadership, forgiveness, choosing peace.
May we be inspired to seek understanding, to build bridges, to create a world where peace wins.
Thanks for being with us.